In this video net interview at IBC 2011, I'm speaking with Yvette Canouf, President at Sea Change International. Hello, Yvette.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Multi-screen quite clearly means more than just getting content onto different screens now, and we're seeing much more about companion screen experiences and second screen. I mean, for a service provider, does that present new opportunities to sort of promote your content and encourage engagement?
I think it does. I think there's so many different aspects to answering that question. Purely from a multi-screen environment, being able to offer the ability to take your content with you is a big piece of it, right? Being able to pause it in one screen, take it with you on another screen, pick it back up later. But also there's a social media aspect that we're really engaging in right now that I think is interesting. For example, being able to recommend to your friends, being able to see what your friends have watched in order to engage in content. So we've found that adding just recommendations has increased buy rates by about 65%. So that's a very significant number. And so the question is, how can we get those recommendations to other screens? So doing things like integration with Twitter, integration with Facebook, being able to watch buys from your friends so that it encourages you to watch that piece of content or a group of content. We're even going as far as doing virtual parties where you can watch content together on different devices in different locations and text each other throughout the content viewing. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity that's really untapped that this multi-screen is giving us.
Yeah, I mean, those pickups in terms of buys, is that from social recommendation or from operator-based recommendation too?
Well, I think that's a good question because the type of recommendation is still untapped, right? Right now it's a viewer-based recommendation, general recommendation such as you know, how the movie ranks in the theaters, as an example, or how it's being viewed on a particular system, and then also recommendations based on your own viewing history and your own favorites. So I think that it will end up being a combination of all those: what you like, what your friends like, what has you know, general acceptance, and so what we're trying to key on is making your own list for what your personal recommendations are. And there's definitely a lot of companies, a lot of art to recommendations. Okay,
and you mentioned virtual VOD party, which seems a very innovative way to sort of create, you know, interest in VOD that may not have been there, and nights of the week where you might get VOD buys that they just wouldn't have been buys otherwise. I mean, is that how it's? I mean, is it actually deployed, and have you got feedback on it?
Well, for us, the product is brand new, so. We've had our Affinity product for some time, which is based on recommendations, and the VOD party is a new aspect to it that we just launched this year. And yeah, the idea is that I invite you, I buy a piece of content, I invite you to watch it with me, invite maybe a few other friends, and we all view it live together, even though it's an on-demand stream. And it's our virtual small party to watch that piece of content. So I think we're just working to be creative with what opportunity the multi-screen environment gives us, you know, and seeing which ones really stick. You know, the Facebook, the social media, the virtual parties, the personal recommendations, viewer-based recommendations, and we're doing all of it.
Okay, and obviously advertising, we're hearing, certainly from the broadcast community, a lot of interest in the second screen as new inventory, really, and perhaps even synchronisation with what's on the main screen, so when the ad spot comes along you drop in an interactive ad on the companion. And I mean, is there a value add for the service provider? Can they do something to enable new advertising opportunities on the companions?
Yes, yes. So you know that we're, as a company, founded on the advertising space, so it's very, very important to us, and so we're obviously very involved in where the advertising business can go. And traditionally, the content provider looking at advertising has been focused on in-stream advertising. So there's a lot of new things going on in in-stream advertising to make it more advanced, to take some of the, for example, if you look at the way that IAB does it on the internet, to be able to do a call for an advertisement out of a web page. And the intelligence behind the targeting capability of the web, we're really adding all of that through the SCTE 130 interface on a multi-screen platform as well. But now you also have a significant amount of on-screen advertising, more so than little screen in the top right corner of your user interface, right? And so we see that all of that can be tied together to being able to target advertisements more. So it's good for the advertiser to be able to understand that I am getting someone within a certain age group or within a certain health environment, depending on what it is that they're trying to advertise. And I think for the operator, you have all these new slots, so to speak, that new inventory and shelf management, and so it can get to be quite an opportunity, and I think quite sophisticated as to where we can go. So we're looking at it in multiple stages. First of all, maybe simple in-stream advertising and simple on-screen advertising, going to targeted advertising, and much more similar to recommendations of content that we were talking about, recommendations for advertising that are very targeted. Okay. I think it's a great opportunity.
And that can all link back into your classic VOD system, can it?
Well, the key is the back office, right? If you have one management system that understands all of your screens and all of your activity, then it can tie back into your VOD. It can also tie back into your linear. It can tie back into everything that you are in your subscription. And then outside of your subscription, you know, there's a lot of tie-ins to partners that can tie in external data as well. And so we're very careful to be cognizant of the rulings for making sure that you protect your data and that you don't go over those boundaries. But I think that at the same time, a lot of consumers don't want much ads that aren't applicable, and so that boundary, you know, is also very sensitive. And so we're doing a lot of work to enable advertising that's within what a customer would want.
Okay, and presumably, I mean, we know that there's not too much extra money in multi-screen. I mean, you may be able to maybe put people onto a higher tier subscription,
right?
But there's not sort of significant extra money like there was with HD. I mean, is advertising likely to be a way that you could monetize your multi-screen?
I think it's one way. I think it's an interesting question. It's posed to a lot of operators that have launched multi-screen. You know, operator that hasn't launched it, what we hear a lot is the question going to say, well, why would you do this? You're spending a bunch of money and you're not getting extra. You're not getting extra revenue from the subscriber. And I think that the operators that have been very successful at it will tell you that there's three things. One of which is customer stickiness. It's very difficult to quantify churn reduction, but it is very real given the options that are out there today to have a good sticky customer. The second one would be the digital tier, as you mentioned, and having a good solid digital tier increase based on the value that you get for that tier. And the third one is advertising. So I'd say it's one of those three, and I think it poses a very good opportunity, especially in Europe where advertising isn't really taken advantage of today. It's a big opportunity. Billions of euros opportunity in that space.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll watch this space, and
yes.
And thanks very much for your time.
It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you for.
Thank you.